I've been working down here in the animal room non-stop for the past few months to get things completed. As you can tell, there's still a good bit that needs to be done, and my intention wasn't to show it quite yet, but the second that the drywall started going up, I thought to myself, you know what, I gotta share what's going on. Although I talked about things briefly whenever I first got this space, I really didn't talk that much about what my schemes are and the different things that I'm planning. And although I'm not going to tell you everything I have up my sleeve, I'll give you a better idea of what we're going to do down here. At first glance, it might not look like I've done that much, but if we go back to September, you can get a much better idea of how much stuff has changed. The walls were all pretty much just block, and the only things framed in were the bathroom and the back closet. I've since framed, insulated, and drywalled everything accordingly. Not only will this allow the finished space to appear as cohesive as possible, but it will also ensure that the temperatures remain very consistent. It's pretty cold out there, and in fact it's snowing, but just with these minor modifications, it's really helped the room stay a very consistent temperature and quite comfortable. All of that said, I did leave the framing for the closet back here as it was before, but I did adjust the bathroom because I felt that it was just a little too large. As I showed in a previous video, I basically just removed a section and moved it all to the left. That of course freed up the vast majority of this space back here, which I'm really excited about. The reason that I'm so excited about this space over here is that it will become the dedicated spot for building projects. Now the reason I like that so much is because in the previous space, it was kind of just like a hallway and I really didn't have a place to properly work and it was always cumbersome. Anyway, I'm gonna need a cool backdrop to film in front of, so I figured I'll get various projects, building materials, and other surprises back here, and I'll place it all in front of a reclaimed wooden accent wall. I figured the spot's gonna be used for something else, so why don't I make it look a little different? I'll also include a proper working table right about there. You may have noticed that I was using a different table in last week's video, which is this one here. Now this is actually a standing desk that the previous owner left. They also left what I'm currently using as a computer desk. What I'll do is take the top off of this one, refinish it, put it onto the legs of that one, and then move it over into that corner of the animal room. I think it's going to look nice, and being able to work and film from different heights is going to be really convenient. And back in here we have the lifeblood of the animal room, the bathroom. Yes, the bathroom, but in all seriousness, none of this would be possible without water. I carefully considered my options and I almost went with the stainless steel kitchen sink, but I decided on this large polypropylene tub. This is great because I can get buckets, aquariums, and other items straight into the sink. I've been working with standard size stationary tubs for pretty much my entire life, and in just a short amount of time that I've been working with something this big, I can tell that it's going to make a huge difference. Something else that could go overlooked is the faucet itself. Now at first glance it might look normal, but check this out. This is a commercial grade faucet, and the thing I love about it is what you just saw. It has unrestricted flow. And as you could imagine, I can fill tanks much faster and thus maintain enclosures more efficiently. Plus the build quality on it is really solid. That's not all though, there's more about this room that I want to share. Or I should say there will be. Give me a second. I've wanted a fish tank in the wall for as long as I can remember, and we're talking even before I had tanks of my own. And it's something that I wanted to include in the new space, but as I went through things, it just didn't seem like it made sense. That is, just until the other day whenever I was using the little frogs room. As I did my business, I looked over and I realized that a perfect opportunity stood before me. I added this wall here to create a utility closet, so it's not structural or anything like that. And I'm really only going to use it for water change stuff like buckets and hoses and things, so it served as the perfect opportunity to add this tank. Obviously there's a lot more that I have to do to this, and we'll outline that all in a future video. Regardless, I think it's going to be really cool to have around, and it kind of makes sense. Why not have a fish tank in the animal room's bathroom? Back into the main room, and there's something else over here that I'm really excited about, and that's these windows. They're quite large, and there's 3 of them, which means that we have plenty of room to store terrariums. I'll case them all in wood so they look real official, and I'll put a big shelf here on the bottom. I really like this because I can easily add all the terrariums to the room without taking up any additional real estate. That leads to the next question. Where exactly am I going to put all of the enclosures? Now I can't say for sure just yet because I'm still kind of designing everything as I go, but I'll put up a visual as to what I'm thinking initially, and it's kind of like row systems. So they'll go along this wall here and create a U and then another U and then around the outside of the room. I think that way none of them are really obstructing each other. You can look at each thing individually and they should be easy to maintain, but I may adjust things as I go on. This area back in here is another one that I'm very excited about, and it should be extremely beneficial. I'll keep all the isopods back in here, my feeder insects. I'll do the quarantine fish tanks, the plant grout bins, so on and so forth. There's just a lot that I can do back here, and it's cool that I could have it all in its own dedicated space, so that way I don't necessarily need to focus on it looking like a display piece. But that said, I'm still gonna make it look pretty nice. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. I recently bought this mini fridge, and I have all of the earthworms, turbo start, frozen mice, various frozen fish foods and things, and I'll put this in that room as well. Being able to keep all of that stuff in the same area that my animals are gonna be at is very convenient. It's also safe for me because I'm allergic to bloodworms, brine shrimp, all that kind of stuff, and to have it separate from the food that I eat is a really good idea. You'll see here that I also created a secondary closet right in the back of here, and I'll just use that for miscellaneous storage. Keep in mind that things are still pretty raw and there's a lot of work to do. I gotta mud all the seams between the drywall, which I'm not looking forward to. I also have to add a sound dampening drop ceiling so I can work down here with minimal sound pollution. As for the floor, well, that's a completely different story. I went around and ripped up all of the flooring that was in here previously. I also got a diamond grinder and painstakingly ground down this floor so that it would be able to accept epoxy. Now the thing is that I intended to do all of that prior to us or the animals living in the house because I don't really feel comfortable using that sort of stuff while all of us are in here, so obviously I'm not doing that now. Instead, what I got are waterproof vinyl tiles. They'll be here sometime next week. And I guess the benefit to those is they do have insulative properties, so they'll help keep the space a little bit warmer without additional work. And they'll be a lot easier to install. I can literally just cut them to size, run them along the room, and it will be as simple as that. Whereas with the epoxy, I'd have to prime the floor, then apply the epoxy, and then a top coat. And it's all these drying times in between that. So it could take upwards of a week, if not longer, to do it properly. And as you know, I already wasted 2 days grinding down the floor. So it's a pretty intensive process. And although I think it would have been a good solution, it just didn't really pan out that way. I also got these beautiful wooden doors, which I'll stain and finish to match the accent wall. That reminded me about the support beam here. I figured rather than hide it in a bulkhead or something like that, why don't I conceal it with some nice looking wood and then stain it and finish it to match the door and the accent wall. And on top of all of that, I'm going to paint the walls a very dark and sophisticated green. That way it retains the essence of the original room as well as the brand while also being more functional. Filming with light colors around creates more reflection, so it's not ideal, and actually viewing tanks in a darker room tends to be more enjoyable. You know, as I start to see things unfolding down here, the walls going up, and my vision and idea that I've had from this place since before we even owned the house, you know, the second I saw this room, even just in the pictures, I knew that it would be perfect for what I plan to do with this space. And I'm the type of person where when I have a vision, when I have an idea, I see it done before it even exists. And obviously I don't see a picture of something, but I just have an idea. And in here, I know what it's gonna look like. And this space is no different. And as I start to just walk around and see the things, it's just like, man, I can't believe this is happening. And obviously it is, but just, it's so many years in the making. And I've talked about this before, and I don't like to keep bringing up stuff, but I just can't help it. I'm just so excited about all of this. And that's why I went through the trouble of making this video. I was working on a project and I really wanted to do that, but I just kept finding myself stop working on that project. I'd walk in here and I'm just just looking around, imagining the possibilities and all the things that I want to do in here, all the various projects I want to build. You know, I have an idea book and it's just page after page after page of things that I haven't been able to do, but I'll be able to do them here, and stuff that I want to share with all of you that is just years in the making that I'm so excited about. I just can't get over it. And I think, I was talking to my wife last night. I told her whenever this room is done and before I even have the animals in here, I'm just gonna walk through as I have been recently. And it's gonna be a very strange moment for me. I don't know how to put it other than that, but it's just a very special thing. And yeah, I don't know. I'm super excited about it. And I hope that you all enjoy coming along the journey, seeing these different aspects of everything that I'm working on, because all of this is leading up to some really incredible things. And I don't know, I keep saying it, for lack of better words. I'm so excited about it, but that's all I have for you in this one. As you see, I got my work cut out for me. My plan is to have this mudded and painted by, I guess, a week and a half from now, and then get the electric done, which, by the way, I had somebody else do the electric. I know my limits. I'm not doing that stuff. I had a proper electrician do all that. So he got it, the rough electric run, and I got to get him to come back and finish up this stuff. And when we put in the drop ceiling, I also get better lighting in here. So I apologize if the lighting wasn't the greatest throughout this video, but it is what it is. Anyway, before I keep going off on tangents like that, I'm gonna head out. As always, I appreciate your continued support. I cannot wait to take you on this journey that's about to unfold. I think 2023, it's really gonna start to, the snowball is really gonna gain some momentum during that time, but that's what I got. Until next time, Serpa Squad, take care and peace.